Shabbat Shalom. Now, here is where we speak about the message this week we heard from our Rabbi. He gave this message back in 2019, and it seems as if it was just yesterday. It's interesting how he spoke about the balloons, the fire balloons. Look what's happening in Israel right now. It's absolute nightmare. And this has been happening. This just goes on and on and on. Back then, those fire balloons that they were sending over were burning the vineyards and the farms of the Israelites. And isn't it interesting what he said, that the Israelites, the Israel preferred not to stop the balloons while they were in Gaza because it would destroy Gaza. Instead, they allowed the fire balloons, to come to them and destroyed them there in Israel, even though they had to take the damage themselves. That to me is, that's astounding. I'm not sure I would do that. And he ended it really bringing everything together, because there were so many different facets to this conversation today, to Behalotecha, that it was hard for me to see the thread going through it. And yet he said at the end that everything, all these teachings, the Torah he starts with the Torah as a book of life. It's a living book. And he said that these teachings are for us personally. One, that we need to be a light, not to produce smoke, not to, by our behavior, cover our light to the rest of those people around us. And unfortunately, that's a daytime struggle, a daily struggle. And then he talked about our roles, not to, as a Kohen, as a priest. The priest wasn't higher in value than the rest of the people. The priest had a role to serve the people. And you see, it's very different among those who are leaders today, politicians, religious leaders. They want to be served. The people have to serve them. And then he talked about how important it is for us not to be crybabies, to complain. Every time we do that, we get into trouble. And let's see, what else did he speak about? When we have a problem with somebody, instead of going to another person to talk about that person, go to that person themselves and deal with it. Do not get involved in what's called lashon hara, speaking behind another person's back. And what else did he say? Actually, he said so many things. Not to covet, be happy when others prosper. Be happy when other people have something that you may not have. Don't covet what they have, but be grateful that God is doing that for them. And because that means he can do it for you too. So there were a lot of wonderful things in this portion. Miriam, did you hear something that related to you?
Let me just well, everything you said, I totally agree with. I loved what he said about the menorah. It points to the east. It was dark, and when your light is pure, and our light is pure, it lights up. Like even now, we're living in such a dark time, and we have to have our light shine, and that's so hard. How often is my oil not pure? Am I giving smoke or am I giving light? And we have to really constantly, even I'm embroiled in a thing with a friend that I've known for, like, let me see, since over 40 years. She's more like family. And now this whole war in Israel is causing a real divide. And I have to talk to her. I'm not going to convince her, and she's not going to convince me. So I have to be careful about pride. Like I shouldn't feel pride in trying to tell her what I believe is right or about God. And in other words, my oil has to be pure, and I have to be a light, and just she's on her journey, and I have to pray for her. And in talking to her, is it pointless, or are there? I have to weigh all these things every day. We have to weigh these things,
Exactly.
and um,
And that's the importance of teshuva, is when we see that we've done something wrong, he's given us the formula to make teshuva, to turn around and come back. We acknowledge it, we recognize what we've done, we tell the person that we're sorry, we make it right, and then we start again. God is so gracious to us.
yeah, but in everything we do, like even things that are right, we don't always do them with the right stance or the right position, like, and that's what is really almost deceptive in our life. We could be saying all the right things and getting angry for the right reasons,
Yeah.
but there's so much arrogance and pride, and we have to be careful, because this woman who I'm telling you about is a very giving, special person. She's not a wicked person, but she's believing wicked things, and I'm just really have to be careful. And I believe she's going to. I believe God is in her and is bringing her
Do
through
the same
something.
thing to ourselves.
What's this?
We do the same thing to ourselves. We don't give ourselves a break. If we do something wrong,
Yeah, I'm totally guilty of that.
as if we're wicked, and we're not.
Yeah, yeah, and that's a big issue in my life. I have to keep being
Yeah,
kinder to myself. But I
yeah,
mean, it's really a journey, and we have to make sure, always work on our oil being
yeah.
from God and being pure.
Now, hold on a second, because Karen wanted to say something.
I just wanted to say that I noticed something, not just that I easily get offended at, but I also accidentally do. And that's to follow up an apology with the word but and then continue. I'm sorry, but it's because.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. The end. Because when people do that to me, I don't forget it. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, but it's because you did this. And
We have to justify all the time.
yeah, it's very,
And that's
very
not
common.
even a real sorry.
Yeah, then it turns, it's harder to forgive.
Exactly.
That's
Exactly.
why forgiveness is from God. And even our light is the reflection of God. So in everything we do, it's so easy to descend into self-righteousness.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm
Yeah. And it's so easy to lend an ear. I remember that what Rabbi was talking about when he said somebody came to his office, and because that person was upset with me for a change. You know, and but she didn't tell him that at the beginning, and then she started talking about me behind my back. She never came and told me what I had done. And Rabbi got caught, so he called us both into the office. But she just couldn't let it go, and she just left. She never came back again, which is too bad, because I mean, uh, uh, I don't mean to hurt people, and I'm thank God I do so much less of that now. But when you're very impulsive and you say things without thinking sometimes, but if people know your heart,
Well, had we just communicated, had you just asked me, had you just, you
yeah,
know, it's funny. We meet people like that too sometimes. They just instantly have an assumption of you, and that's it. That's all you get. You don't get, it's like, well, we could have been great friends. That's too bad.
yeah. Well, I guess that's why we don't have many great friends.
It is
I do. They're not here
yeah,
though.
most of
They're
the
all
time
far.
is miscommunication and listening to our minds. Sometimes we listen too much our minds,
Oh yeah,
and
that's
our minds are very good fabricating ideas and concepts
oh
that
yeah,
that probably they are off reality, completely.
yeah, yeah.
So that's why it's very important to communicate always. Let
Absolutely,
them, you know,
yeah,
transparency. Let the it is what it is.
yeah, yeah. Mauricio.
Well, so Shalom to all. Yeah, I've been thinking about this portion because it's so beautiful related. to what is happening to Israel right now. There are many verses that are right now linked to what is happening. God is protecting Israel in around the whole world. It's amazing how many people is against Israel in the world. Okay, and it's against Jewish people. Okay, right now, in right now, especially, uh, we need to pray for Israel. I mean, it's something that we do, obviously, but yesterday, it's sad to see how the Iranis attack civilians. They do not attack military or air jets or whatever. No, they attacked people. They wanted to kill people. Okay, so and just two things about this portion related to that is when the sound blast, okay, of the trumpet, all the army needs to move, and it's something that is written in this portion. And also there is a prayer that Moshe, it says that always he move, okay, and when they stop, they pray, okay, arise, O God, and let your enemies
Yeah.
be destroyed, okay. And this is something that you know uh and it's interesting that Moshe did not ask to God to destroy people. No, destroy your enemies. Okay, that hate of senseless, it must be destroyed. Um, and also, uh, eh, there is something else that I like to to point. Um, well, in this portion is also uh, that there is something about that we express it on this Tuesday, and in I don't know if that in English is the right word, is pretext. Okay, when you said I didn't do this because of this and of that. That is a pretext. Okay, I don't know if that is a word in English too.
Text, yeah.
Pretexto in Spanish.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pretext.
pretext. Okay, so and it says that they were, in their mind, as Angel said, that the mind is so uh, deceiving. Okay, that they made up.
The spirit is not.
Yeah, and it's very sad because they made a mistake, because they said to the Lord, Lord, we want to eat meat. Okay, and obviously they had meat. Okay, they have goats, they have sheep, they have bulls, they have, I don't know, so many things. I mean,
Yeah.
and it's interesting that the Torah says that they made a pretext. Okay, so they invented that. Okay, that was not a real need. Okay, they just wanted to and obviously the point is that also made Moses said, "Oh God, where will we find the whole meat for these guys?" And the Lord also said to Moses, "Hey, Moses, there is something that is impossible for me." So, uh, and also probably Moses and the whole Israelites were so accustomed to what they have that they were blind about the blessings that God had given them. Okay. And then it says the portion that God sent some birds to the desert, and everybody was so hungry to eat meat that they took alive the goats and ate them. Okay. And
Quails.
the quails, yeah. And then they ate it. So it's something that even today I never taste a living bird. I mean, so that is something that is not just disgusting, but is against what the Torah says, that you cannot eat a living animal. Okay, so it's more that it says that they have the meat. Okay, that is just that what is behind is that they wanted to have rituals that they used to have in Egypt related to sexuality. Okay, yeah, and you are mute. Sorry, Peggy.
Does it actually say that, or is that an interpretation of the rabbis? Because I don't remember.
It's an interpretation. It's an interpretation from many rabbis. Okay, because they already have meat, you know.
Right.
Okay, they wanted flesh. Okay,
Yeah.
so okay, in that it's something that honestly, that is why they said that the Rav that is mentioned in this portion, oh, the mixed multitude deceive Israel and poor Israelites. No, everybody took the decision and made a mistake.
It was the
Okay,
Asasuf were the rebels among them.
yeah,
Say anything about the Arab Rav. That includes
yeah,
who left with us. Yeah, no, that's completely
yeah,
right. Yeah.
yeah. And now the point is, okay, but also there is something of a hope, because Moses said, hey God, you know, this is a very huge uh, cargo burden for me.
Burden.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that it's a lot, it's very heavy. And what he said, oh, okay, uh, go and call the 70 elders, and then were added Eldad and Medal, and, and he was very happy. And that's something also that religious people act like Yehoshua when he said, hey, Moshe, there is two other men that are prophesying.
Yeah.
Do we stop them? Do we kill them? And he said, no, no, let them. It's for everybody.
I wish everybody
So,
would do that. Yeah.
yeah. And but and this is something that I guess today is uh, is missing, because the spirit of God, which manifests in love bondage, manifest through justice, in the truth, in the way of to love other persons, to to have different good fruits that Rav Shaul said. For me, is something that we have missed today. But God wanted that everybody prophesies. Now, what is prophesied is to call people, to announce people a God's message, and that at the end, what the prophet want is that people return back to God. Okay, that is the end. It's not about prophetizing, oh, you're gonna be destroyed, and then the seven horses. In these days, I have seen many people saying Armageddon and things like, the I don't know if the 4 or 7 horses of the apocalypse
Yeah,
are coming, things like that. No, that is not prophesizing.
right,
That is to spread fear among people.
right.
Okay. Prophetizing is when you, for example, you just tell to your kids, hey, don't try to fast. If you try to fast, then you can crash. Okay. And your life or other people's life is in danger. So go down and drive safely. That is what you are prophesying at that moment, because you want the people stop and said, oh, that is true. I need to reduce my speed and because of my good. What are the consequences to do not obey that prophecy? In example, is that you're gonna crash and probably you could die. Okay, but in this little example, I'm telling you that is a very same idea about prophetizing. Okay, all the prophets, what they wanted. Okay, if you start to read every prophet of the scriptures, they start to say, oh, you're gonna have this and you're gonna suffer these consequences, and your kids will be delivered to slavery. I don't know, your cities will be destroyed, but and everybody says, but at the end, God will remember you. God, all these things will happen if you don't obey God's voice and things like that. So the main point of a prophet is that the person who is reading the prophecies returns to God and
Yeah.
avoid the consequences of what he is saying.
Right.
Okay,
They're warning the people.
it's a warning. Yes. So it's not about predictions.
Right.
Okay.
Which is more fortune telling. It's more for the pagans.
Yeah, that is more pagan.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, that's very, yes.
because the pagan do not ask people return to God. Okay,
No.
that's it.
Yeah. Quickly, Mauricio, when we say Binso Aaron Vayomer Moshe, Kuma Adonai, it was in the portion, doesn't it say let our enemies be scattered instead of destroyed? I don't think we're wishing the destruction. It does, eh?
Scatter. I was translating from Spanish.
Yes, yes. To scatter them, to get rid of them for us. Because God always tells us we don't even wish the death of our enemies. So, but it's very difficult. You're right about us seeing right now, seeing the whole world is against us. But that's what's the amazing thing, is that this little nation, so the size of the smallest state, the New Jersey, and with less people in it than one of the smaller tribes in Africa. These people are at the center of everything going on in the world. That just goes to show just how much God is behind everything. Anyway, let's just keep our people in prayer. Let's keep each other in prayer, and we look forward to seeing you all again next Shabbat. Have a wonderful Shabbat and a Shavua Tov to everybody.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat
Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, Sadi.